This is the story of how I spent 24 hours in Baltimore on an inexpensive trip. I flew in on a Saturday morning and then flew home on a Sunday morning. It consisted of walking around the inner harbor and walking a few miles to see a couple other attractions. In March of 2022, I saw that I had some airline credits that were about to expire within a week. I didn't want to lose them. I looked to see what city I could fly to without spending much more than what those points would cover. From my home in Rochester, New York, it was a short flight to Baltimore, so that's where I decided to go. I learned that there is a tram that goes from BWI Airport to the inner harbor of Baltimore. It costs only a few bucks. My only major expense would be the hotel. I booked one within walking distance of the inner harbor for one night. One consideration I had was that my flight was to arrive around 7:30 on Saturday morning, much too early to check into the hotel, so I had to decide what to do with any luggage once I arrived in Baltimore. My plan was to walk around most of the day before checking into the hotel, and I did not want to carry something around. I decided I did not need any luggage for one night. I carried a few essentials in my coat pocket. After the plane arrived in Baltimore, I took the tram to the inner harbor. I was curious about the Baltimore cruise port, where I had never been, and saw that it was a few miles away. I decided to take a long walk to see the cruise port. There were no ships in port, so truthfully nothing to see, but since I'm a cruise fanatic, I just wanted to see the port from the outside. This map shows the route that I took. On the way back, I stopped at the Baltimore Museum of Industry. According to the website, the Baltimore Museum of Industry celebrates Maryland's industrial legacy and shows how innovation fuels ongoing progress. Their exhibitions, educational programs, and collections engage visitors in the stories of the people who built Baltimore and those who shaped the region's future. After that, I walked back to the inner harbor and went to the Maryland Science Center. According to the website, they have exhibits on all levels. There is a permanent hall showcasing dinosaurs and earth sciences, and a dedicated gallery for housing temporary exhibitions. The IMAX theater has 3D film technology. I enjoyed 3 different shows in the planetarium that afternoon. Then I went to see the USS Constellation. The USS Constellation is a sloop of war, the last sail-only warship designed and built by the United States Navy. She was built in 1854 using a small amount of material salvaged from the frigate USS Constellation, which had been disassembled the year before. She is now preserved as a museum ship in Baltimore and is a National Historic Landmark. I watched a cannon firing demonstration. The ticket for the USS Constellation also included 2 other ships that are in Baltimore's inner harbor. I decided to wait until Sunday morning to tour the other vessels. It was late afternoon, so I checked into my hotel and found something to eat at a nearby restaurant. After walking all day, I was ready to relax for the evening in my hotel room. The next morning, I went back to the inner harbor to tour the USS Torsk. According to the website, it was commissioned for the United States Navy on December 16, 1944. The Torsk was the only submarine out of its Tench-class fleet of 10 to see service during World War II. Over 80 sailors lived aboard Torsk at particular times. In these very crowded conditions, the only way to pass someone was to turn sideways. After numerous war patrols and duties as a training boat after the war, the Torsk arrived in Baltimore to serve as a museum and memorial in 1972. After touring the Torsk, I decided to go back to the tram and head to the airport for my flight home to Rochester.